stop scrolling, because this is the all-gas, no-brakes supercut your brain's been waiting for. A single surge of football cinema where Cristiano Ronaldo's top 100 worldies melt into one hypnotic flow of power, finesse, and ice-cold timing. And you can practically feel each strike vibrate through the netting as the crowd inhales at once and forgets how to exhale. Imagine the counter opening with a knuckleball that bends physics into a confession, the valve facing the camera, the ball leaving his laces like a launched secret and then wobbling, dipping, staggering past a keeper who took one honest step and realized he was auditioning for a slow-motion tragedy. And from there, the montage refuses to calm down. Volleys that hiss like comets, cross-body strikes from angles that look illegal, and headers that suspend him mid-air long enough for you to find a second camera and still catch him hanging there, eyes locked on a postage stamp corner he's already mailed to himself. Early clips feel raw and fearless, step-overs that hypnotize, elastic changes of direction that fold defenders into origami, shots that explode so purely the stadium lights seem to blink. Then the film deepens into the polished prime, movement turned into math, shoulder checks stitched between strides, near-post ambushes that feel preordained, far-post delays that stretch time just enough to make keepers guess wrong in two directions, and free kicks with that wide stance ritual that turns whistles into drums and walls into viewers because, when he hits the valve just right, the ball stops being round and starts being rude. The montage leans into chaos in the best way. Deflections he manufactures with intent, snapshots taken with no backlift that hum past gloves before commentary finds its consonants, outside of the boot swerves that clip the inside of the post like he aimed for a single pixel, and first-time finishes off cutbacks he called with a look while pretending not to look. And as the counter climbs, you notice the theme isn't just spectacle, it's certainty. He keeps appearing in the only square foot that matters, touching the ball once, twice at most, and turning half chances into screensavers. Replay angle. 2 confirms what angle 1 suspected. His plant foot is a thesis. His hips snap the proof, and his follow-through the mic drop, and his headers deserve their own planet. Leap, hang, hammer. With timing so supernatural, the cross seems to arrive earlier just to pay respects. Defenders try everything. Hands, shoulders, prayers. And still he climbs a rung higher, twists his neck into a whip crack, and buries a ball that weighs too much for the goal frame to pretend it's casual. The worldies at full sprint are their own drug, the camera struggling to keep up. His steps measuring distance like a tailor, the finish struck while the last blade of grass is still introducing itself to his studs, and there are cutaways to chipped keepers who stood too tall and learned humility in HD, to toe pokes that knife. Through traffic, because when defenders build a hedge he becomes a gardener, to chest controls that land like decisions and half volleys that sound like punctuation. The best part is the pressure montage, stoppage time murders of doubt, tournament nights where the air feels heavy, and he makes it lighter with one clean connection. Rival grounds that arrive with hostility and leave with stunned applause, and penalty box mazes where he stutters a heartbeat, sends the keeper to an early taxi, and rolls the ball into a corner like he's closing a drawer. The film keeps swinging. Eras without losing rhythm. Teenage electricity that treats the touchline like a trampoline. Peak years minimalism that edits football down to essentials. Later years mastery that replaces maximal dribbling with maximal positioning. Proof that speed can be replaced by speed of thought when the mind runs hotter than the legs. If you freeze any frame, you see cleverness wearing a heavyweight belt, a disguised body shape that sells far post while the instep whispers near, a decoy glance that drags a center back 1 meter, that fatal meter, before the ball leaves like thunder, and a first touch that escorts the ball into a finish the way a maitre d' seats a VIP. Free kicks deserve their own anthem. Some slice over walls, as if the crossbar lowered itself out of respect. Some buck and jag so violently they look edited. Some go under because he watched a keeper hop and turned information into art. And the net billows with that satisfying slap that tells your ears, "We just broke a little piece of air." The compilation sneaks in the petty goals too. The ones from nothing, from bad bounces, from chaos. Because greatness isn't just nights with fireworks, it's afternoons with plumbing. And he does the unglamorous with glamorous efficiency. Battering ram finishes from 5 yards that appear after he ghosts behind a shoulder. Soft passes into the far side netting that look gentle and land fatal. Rebounds converted before gravity clocks in for work. The purest replays are the ones that expose his geometry. Entry angle, stride cadence, contact point, exit line, all. So repeatable you could call them templates if they weren't one-of-one sculptures. And each replay adds a new truth. The way his scanning rate jumps as he approaches the box. How he buys a millisecond by riding the final step longer. How his plant foot angles his hips so the shot looks closed before it opens like a trap door. As we stride past the halfway mark, 5,100. Then, 6,100, the edit grows playful, pairing a knuckler from long range with a dink so impolite it makes the keeper blush, matching a skyscraper header with a grass cutter that slithers through legs, alternating home roars and away silences to remind you some goals are best measured in hush, and every 10 count lands on a signature. A bicycle that meets the ball at the exact height, arrogance usually fails, struck clean as a confession, the net reacting as if pulled by string. Then a thunder volley that catches a dropping cross at knee height and treats it like a button that needed pressing. Then a 2-touch counter where his second touch is the finish and his first is the future. The compilation leans into rivals without naming them. Because you recognize the kits and the stakes by the way the crowd swells or sulks, and the tactical funerals are the tastiest. When he pinches to the near post, knowing the full back is daydreaming. When he delays 3 steps to steal the back post, while the winger paints the low cross. When he splits the center backs on a diagonal that feels like a cheat code. Slow motion turns technique into a textbook. Shoulders still, head over the ball for the ground huggers, heel up and knee through for the rockets, laces down the seam for the knucklers, ankle set and hips closed for those accurate far post passes pretending to be shots, and the bicycle replays show why they aren't luck. He glances, calculates, plants hands invisible midair, hits the sweet spot, and lands like a gymnast who practiced in secret. The keeper reactions become a side story. Frozen statues, last finger grazes that only change the sound, not the ending, defeated flops that start before the ball crosses. I had the angle hands followed by I had nothing eyes. Cutaways to teammates grinning, to opponents sighing, to managers. Clapping through pain because sometimes excellence is the only acceptable bully. Narratively, the film understands the arc, early chaos, peak control, late mastery. But it also cheats by reminding you the chaos never fully left, and the mastery visited early, which is another way to say the talent overwhelmed the timeline. The sound design matters. The net slap thick as velvet on some shots. The crossbar ring like a cathedral bell on others. The sudden deadness of a side net hit that makes you feel the cord pressing into leather. The crowd's gasp elongating into a roar, then settling into a chant that spills out of TVs and into living rooms. As the counter drifts toward the 90s, the compilation becomes cruel in the best way, stacking back-to-back finishes that each could headline a season. A curling postage stamp from the corner of the box that folds into the top bin with poetry, followed by a chest-down, half-volley pile driver that lights up a scoreboard like a slot machine, followed by a 1-2 where his return pass is an instruction manual and the finish is compliance, followed by a zipline header that meets a cross, traveling like a secret and treats it like a promise. There are the rogue goals you forgot, an improvised toe poke when the window was the width of honesty, a scissor flick designed for posters and physics exams, a dribble that isn't extravagant until the last 2 touches turn a defense into a rumor, and a spinning finish where he rides the defender's weight and converts it into hinge and hammer. The editing keeps teasing you with that one, and then showing you no, that one, until the definition of best collapses and you accept the point. Across leagues, managers, systems, teammates, and ages, the technique stays bankable, the variety stays wild, And the nerve survives every new stadium. The final 10 mount like a ceremony. Goal 91, a free kick that swims through air like it invented water. 92, a left-foot rocket that argues for ambidexterity. 93, a back post swipe that steals a point from a hopeless minute. 94, a 25-yard daisy cutter that checks in at the corner without checking with the keeper. 95, a classic counter finished with that no-backlift violence that embarrasses reaction time. 96, a towering header where he outjumps a skyline. 97, a volley struck so flat it could serve drinks. 98, a dribble through a crowd that opens a slit in reality. 99, a curler from the D that paints the top corner with the brush he carries in his ankle. And 100, of course, arrives as a memory you already had and a surprise you didn't. A bicycle that hangs on your retinas, or a free kick that redraws the rulebook, or a late winner that rewrites the weekend. And as the counter flips from 99-100 to 100-100, the edit freezes half a beat past comfort, so you can hear your own heartbeat admitting what your eyes already knew. By the time the cut lands on celebration silhouettes, arms out, leap cresting, grin that sprints the length of a pitch, you realize the compilation worked like a truth serum. Worldies aren't accidents. They're results of an unglamorous bargain with time, with reps, with refusal to be reasonable. And Ronaldo's proof lives in replays because replays let you count the choices, the scans, the adjustments, the micro bets he makes faster than syntax. And when the final frame fades, all that's left is the echo of 100 impeccable decisions disguised as violence, the understanding that greatness is not a mood but a method, and the itch to hit replay because once your eyes learn this language, they want fluency.